You're now listening to Hispanics Causing Panic, baby. Let's do this.
But right now, Hispanics are causing black. But right now, Hispanics are causing black. See how it goes? Hispanics are causing panic.
Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me on Archive D-Style Boxing. I've been joined by my co-host Chief Funky, and we're also joined by Joe Habib from Ringside Reporter. And we also have the one and the only Christy Martin, a.k.a. the coal miner's daughter, a.k.a. world champion, a.k.a. fighter, a.k.a. Hall of Famer, promoter. I'm running out of titles here, but shout out to you, Christy. Thanks for coming back here for now the third time on the show. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for using all the positive titles you can find for me. You know, because there's lots of people out there that would drop some negative ones. But so I appreciate the positive.
No, only positive ones. Only positive ones over here. You know. But,
that's right. That's right.
Well. First of all, tomorrow I believe Netflix will be playing the documentary. Correct?
Actually, the first documentary of the series came out today, and that's about the Pacers and the big fight they had with the fans. Next Tuesday night or next Tuesday, the documentary for my life comes out Tuesday. Tomorrow is we're doing media.
I got it.
Yep.
I got you. Okay. I don't know why I thought they would be playing them. So it makes sense every week. Okay, it's called Untold. It is on Netflix. So you guys make sure you subscribe to Netflix, and everyone has family members too that can help you out with the password and all that good stuff. So you can go ahead and check out the Christy Martin documentary next week. Again, that's the second one, Untold, and they have other ones, so make sure you check that out. Without giving it away, because we want people to watch it. But what did you make of the documentary? Were you satisfied with it? What did you make of it?
I think it was really fair to me, and I think that it took us back to the 90s and that great boxing era, and fighting under the Mike Tyson cards, fighting in the Garden, all that really cool stuff. It's also the boxing part of it got me excited and reliving the positives. Of course, we had the other side as well, and it's a little harder to watch. It's a little harder to listen to. Jim Martin's actually interviewed from prison. It was a little hard to see him and to hear him lie, but everything else was really positive, and I felt like it was really fair.
Okay. Now, do you know why they had to interview him? Is it kind of like they're trying to tell all sides of the story? Is that what that is?
I think they talked to me. They were like, how do you feel about us talking to him? And I thought, well, you know what? Let's give him a chance to tell the truth. I really thought after all this time that maybe he would say, yeah, I did it. But he really doesn't change his story too much. He hasn't changed any at all, really. He's still the same arrogant ass that he was, all those years ago. And it's amazing to me. It seems like prison would have changed him a little bit, but I didn't see any change in him. Still very, very arrogant.
Staying arrogant. Wow.
Yeah.
When the idea of this documentary first came about, did you have any reservations about having your personal life put out there? Was it a process that you had to, go through in your mind, whether or not you wanted to go through with this or not? Did you have any reservations?
Well, at first, it's Netflix, right? So I was all excited, like, wow, Netflix wants to do a documentary, and you're thinking about all the positives. I got to go and hang out with Deidre Gogarty for a little while in Vegas. Hooked up with Jimmy Maloney, who sparred with me for so many years. So I got to spend some time with some people from that era that was so great for me. But then as it got closer to the documentaries, we're getting closer to air date, we're getting closer to the release, I started thinking, oh my God, what was I thinking? But I think it was fair. I think it's a good story. I think that hopefully it will make a difference in some people's lives, that they won't keep going down that rabbit hole as far as I did, and taking the abuse and the control, the whole game that these narcissists play. And they'll be able to recognize it and stand up for themselves and know that people are out there to help. That's probably the main thing about it. They will see Christy's Champs is just one of the many, many organizations that try to help women or men that are in these domestic violence situations.
Was it surreal to you watching your life being played right in front of your very eyes? Did it obviously brought back memories, but how did you feel about that? What type of effect did it have on you watching that?
It's one of those strange things. It's kind of like the cover of Sports Illustrated. Somebody asked me once, don't you get tired of seeing it? Of course I don't get tired of seeing it. That's awesome to think that, wow, I was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. So it's a little bit the same, like, wow, they really took the time to do this documentary, and hopefully people will watch it and people will take some positive away from it. So it was kind of strange. And plus I hate to sit and listen to myself talk. So just to listen to myself for about 80 minutes, I think it is. And I do a lot of talking during the thing. So, and I do a lot of talking. They flash back to the trash talking for the Deschong fight and the fight with Lucia Riker. There's a lot of really cool footage in there that I don't know. I didn't know how they got, actually.
They're like, hey, that's me.
Yeah.
Is there anything there that you would say a lot of us haven't heard of yet? Like anything new about you in that documentary?
Oh,
okay.
There's going to be some oh shit moments. There'll be like, and that's more on the personal side, but yeah, I think there'll be some oh wow, Christy moments. Yeah. And I hope that through some of that, people will see just the kind of control that Jim had over me.
We'll be able to see that for sure.
101.
So Christy, I heard you mention you had a chance to talk to some of the fighters that you had fights with back in the days. I heard you bring up the name Gogarty. That was a great fight. How was that meeting up with her after all these years, after you guys had such a spectacular fight back in the 90s?
It was cool because, so much time has passed, and she's married now, has a child, and just the whole time to sit together and catch up and relive. Wow, that we did this. Our fight that night changed the way women's boxing is perceived today. Even though I know there's some people out there now that want to claim the GOAT and they're the reason that people are watching women's boxing. No, people are watching women's boxing because of Martin Gogarty under Mike Tyson. Everybody had tuned in that night to see Mike Tyson, and we got a chance to display our skills. That's why women's boxing got a really big push. But there were women way before Christy Martin ever tried to put up on the gloves, tried to box and get recognition. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And Don King was, to me, he's the greatest promoter of all times. He just didn't transition to the social media side of promotion.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned being on Mike Tyson undercards. You were on cards with Felix Trinidad, Chavez. A lot of these female fighters, they are so concerned about, getting themselves out there, becoming popular, but they want a headline right away. I notice, and you mentioned, the term "GWOAT," and they seem like they're putting the cart before the horse. You built yourself up. You were on the undercards. How important is that? And do you think female fighters should do that as well to try to build themselves up, be on some big fight undercards, and sometimes get that opportunity to get that exposure?
And isn't that what it's really all about? Boxing, I love the sport, but it's a business as well. So the main thing, number one, you want to do is be seen by the most people possible. And the way to be seen and to show your skills to that number of people all over the world is to be on the undercard of, during my time, Tyson, Trinidad, as you said, Chavez, all those guys. And Mike Tyson's in the documentary, which is really cool. That was really awesome. But these women today, they want to, as you said, they want to headline their own shows, but who's going to watch? Isn't it better to be on this big card that so many people are tuned in to see than to headline a show and nobody watches it?
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so, because you were on some big time cards back in the day.
Man, I was on all those big cards. Tyson, like 4 or 5 Tyson cards. Tyson Holyfield 1 and 2. I was on both those with Trinidad and Chavez. That was the last great era of boxing.
Terry Norris, Julian Jackson.
Terry Norris. Oh man.
You know what?
Man, those are some names right there.
I want to ask you something about this. So you were on these big undercards. I'm just curious, what would Christy Martin do after one of your fights? Would you just go back and celebrate in the locker room? Did you sit down in the locker room and watch the fight? Did you go to the hotel to watch the fights? Like what were you doing in the main event of that evening when Mike Tyson was fighting?
I would usually go back, get a shower, get back out into the arena and watch Tyson fight. You want to be in there. I mean, everybody wanted to see the fight. So I wanted to be in the arena and feel the energy. It was awesome. I mean, all those fights were just unbelievable. I remember the first big fight I fought on was Chavez Frankie Randall 1, actually. And I thought I was in Mexico. I mean, Chavez, there was so much support for Chavez. I couldn't believe it. It was oh man, it was awesome. And because of my style, it was pretty fan friendly kind of, want to see me go forward, no big punches, get hit, bleed. I felt like I had a lot of Mexican fans just because of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's definitely right up our alley, Christy. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Right now, I'm promoting a young Mexican fighter from Florida, Benny Aguilar. He's taking on a kid from Venezuela on my show April 28th in Myrtle Beach, and that's fireworks are gonna. I mean, these guys are like 5-0, so they're at that point in the career. Somebody's gonna move forward, and somebody's gonna take a little step back and have to recoup and go again. But that's gonna be a great fight. But that's just you're putting 2 young lions in there together.
So I do want to talk about that Mayhem in Myrtle Beach card, August 28th. I'm seeing it general admission $45, ringside $65. Are there still seats available?
Ringside's sold out. Ringside's been sold out, and we're doing well with the general admission. There's tickets available, but they're going quickly. The card is low. I mean, like I said, Alonzo Butler's on the show. He's getting ready to. He's getting himself in line to fight for WBA heavyweight title. Victorino Gonzalez, who is my fighter, Christy Martin Promotions, signed under our team. Puerto Rican kid that's from Myrtle Beach he packs the place. And he brings a lot of energy.
Pack that place. Okay. So who are some fighters that we should be looking out for on that card? I mean, there's Antonio Savia. I see Kyle Harrell. Like who should we be looking at here? Like as a future world champion? Yeah,
those guys. Anthony Savilla. He's from West Virginia, so he's my hometown, my home state, and I'm excited about him. He's, we're trying to mold his persona for boxing, but his style in the ring is just go knock you out. We're so much alike. We'd rather just stand there and fight than be pretty about it. You hit me 2 or 3 times, I'm gonna hit you 1, but I know my 1's gonna take care of business. And that's the same style that he brings. So the fans love it. He comes out to Country Roads, West Virginia. Everybody in West Virginia loves that song. And we're down in Myrtle Beach, lots of West Virginians. So he's a big hit. And then, as I said, Victorino Gonzalez, he's exciting. 126, 130 pounder. He's still working, still improving, but coming off a tough loss, a tough setback in Orlando, but he's ready to get back on the horse and go against a 4-0 kid, Carlos Nunez. So, I mean, it's all undefeated young talent coming up to really battle to who's going to move forward.
Right, so I see a fight here, Victorino Gonzalez versus Carlos, all in Venegas. What type of fight should people expect with that one right there?
Yeah, that's going to be it's going to be straightforward. Nunes is going to come forward. He's going to try to. He's already said he's going to knock Victorino out. Victorino's my fighter, so I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think Victorino will give him a little bit of a boxing lesson and then take it home. He could stop him late. Well, it's only a 6-round fight, but he could stop him in like 5th or 6th.
Now, being a former fighter yourself, I'm sure you understand styles and matchups. How involved are you in putting these matches together? I'm sure you have the matchmaker, but I would assume you would have a say in these matchups as well. I'm
not the Don King's level or those guys, Oscar and all of them. So I am involved with the matchmaking, and these guys are my fighters. Anthony Sevilla, Victorino, Benny Aguilar, they're my guys. So as I step them up, I get a little nervous, but that's what we have to do. And the good thing about these guys, I have to hold them back. I don't have to push them, push them to take a tougher fight. I have to tell them, no, you've had less than 5 fights. You're not ready to take on that, 10-0 undefeated guy yet. Let's get a couple more. A 10, you got to pay your dues. You got to improve each and every night out. But yeah, I'm involved. I'm definitely involved. I am working with Brian Shannon. He makes most of the matches for me, but we work very closely.
So you can definitely understand the building up process of a fighter, and that obviously you can relate to that at being a fighter yourself.
I think there are a lot of theories. There's too many guys, in my opinion, right now that want to just fight dead people. The first 10 or 12 fights they want 0-5s and 1-10. No, I mean, what do you learn? And then when in fight number 11 or 12, you fight a real fighter, you're in no way prepared for that. So I want my guys to fight. They have to fight against quality competition. We don't fight those one-hitter quitters, as I call them.
Now, you said you have to hold them back. And I think a lot of boxing fans, especially like on social media, they use the word duck a lot. They use the word scared a lot. Do you run into fighters that are scared and they want to duck fights much? Or do you find yourself having to explain to them why maybe another route is better? Like, you know what I mean?
Like a day job. Yes. Because look, if you want to go to the gym every day and work out and put your body and your mind through the training and the preparation that it takes to get ready for a fight, and then you don't want to fight, at least, same level competition, get a job. Get a day job. Boxing's not for you. That's just the way that's the way I was raised in it. That's the way I believe is the right way. And that's the way that my guys will come up.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, I like that. Christy, we talked a little bit about how the women's boxing today is kind of failing to attract more fans to their side of the sport. Now, you're obviously retired now, but if you were, let's just say back when you were active, if that was the case for women's at the time, and a lot of the fighters today, they're going over to MMA to make more money. Would you possibly consider doing that in your career, or would you stick to boxing?
Never. I just don't get it. I don't have any understanding of the ground game, so I can't really appreciate. I know that what they do is they're good at it. They're great at it, but I have no desire, and I have no desire to get kicked in the head. None. Zero. So no, I would never even consider it. But
just to add to that, though, my only thing is this, right? Just recently, I forgot the name of the girl, but there's this UFC fighter. She won to fight in the UFC, and she's talking about how she won a fight bonus and that she was broke, and without that fight bonus, she would have broke even, and she would have been broke anyway. So this idea that these boxers need to go to MMA when MMA fighters keep wanting to come to boxing, I just don't know where this is coming from, because there isn't more money in MMA from what I see anyway.
I don't know for sure, but I from what I've been told is for the women, there's more money over in the UFC and the MMA stuff. For the men, boxing, of course, is always going to be the bigger payday. Again, I just can't ever see me trying to get hit in the head. Even when I was 20 years old, I'm like, no, I don't think that's for me. But hey, more power to them. It's just funny because Dana White back in the 90s was so much against women's boxing, and Don King, and he put so much crap on us for for doing what we were doing, and King giving me the opportunity, and then along comes Ronda Rousey, and Dana White saw that he could make money with her, and now his whole promotional package of UFC has changed. In my opinion, he relies more heavily on the females than on the guys even.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, that girl had to do a GoFundMe.
Wow.
Like that's just so. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the answer or whatever, because I keep hearing, certain fighters. That's how we refer to her. They call themselves the quote, saying, "Well, you better pay me, or I'm going to go to MMA where the money's at." I don't know, right? But with that said, how is being you've done several cards now. Are you finding being a promoter more frustrating than you thought it would? Is it worth it for you? Especially with this COVID thing. COVID must be very frustrating for you as a promoter right now. How is being a promoter right now?
Being a promoter to me is so much harder than being the fighter. The fighters always bitch, moan, and complain that promoters are making all the money, but everybody has to work hand in hand. It takes the fighters to make the promoter. It takes the promoter to make the fighters. But tag is hard. It's hard. And with the COVID, we were basically shut down for a year, and we had just put Evan Holyfield on a show in Daytona Beach. And like the momentum, for the promotion, my team was all going forward and I felt so positive about it. And then COVID hit and everything was canceled. So then we had a few shows where Gardner Payne was actually the lead promoter. We just ran the show for him, and restricted audience. It was tough. It was tough. Now we've been back in Myrtle Beach and in Florida where we could have unlimited audience, but we're having the rise in COVID. So it's like any minute you don't know when it's going to change.
The boxing fans complain that there's like so many titles now in boxing, but it actually helps the promoter to have all these titles because they can say, I'm promoting a title fight. What is your perspective on that? Because you're a promoter now. When you look at all these titles, obviously it's a lot different than when you were boxing. What is your take on all these titles? And do you like it or not like it?
I personally don't like it because I think, but this is me being a little bit
old school,
too restrictive. Old school,
Yeah, old school.
I'm like, there's the BC number one. You want to put that green belt on your waist. There's the BA. Mendoza, I love them. They're good. The IBF, I know a little bit less about, and the BO, and what else? Why else? Why do you want to fight for, Junkyard Dog world title?
Regular
Who
belt.
cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's too much. We have the regular
silver titles.
There's too many titles. There's too many weight classes. But I am old school, and I would love to see these titles go away. Have a title that means
I think
or don't have one. Then it makes you work harder. These guys get titles, and they have titles for 6-round fights. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's not a title fight. That's a prelim. That's not even a real. That's a prelim.
Yeah, the fighter the other night had 3 fights. He was fighting for the WBA regular title.
Come on.
that's just that's crazy. I want to ask you this. You as a former fighter, because we talked to you in the past, and you sound grateful for everything Don King did for you as far as the opportunities, right, to be on these big undercards and making the money you made in boxing. Now it seems to me like the fighters are in these positions where they're getting great money, and to me it's like, hey, good for you. But it seems like the fights are harder to make, even though they're making more money. And so when me as just a regular person, I hear, okay, Cada Plant is going to make 10 million, and then Canelo's going to make 40 million, right? And for me, like, I just say to myself, oh, you figure it out, guys, and then fight. That's what I have to say. Right. But these fights don't happen. Like, how do you see these things? There's multiple examples of it, but it seems the fights are just more difficult to make, even though there's more money apparently for them to make.
Well, definitely there's more money now than back in the 90s. But yeah, I can't imagine, like, when you're making 10 million plus, it's almost like, how do you let a million stand in the way? And then argue over the size of the ring. Who cares? You're both in the same size. the gloves, this and that. That's Mickey Mouse stuff. That means you don't really want to fight. So yeah, it's strange. I mean, I can't imagine fighting over, when you're fighting for $2 million, like I said, it's all relative. What's $1 million? That's like you're fighting for $1,000 and you wanted to fight over, you do or do not want to fight over $100. It's 10%. It doesn't matter.
Right. So
yeah.
And that $100 probably means more to that fighter than that $1 million really means to that fighter.
Right. Exactly.
Honestly, I mean, in the big picture. Yeah.
Exactly.
But, yeah, unfortunately, Arum and King got a lot of crap for back in the day that their fighters didn't fight each other. But now we still fighters under the same promotion. They're not fighting each other. So it's
Right.
hard. It's hard, and then again, with so many weight classes, like it's not, they don't have to fight each other and so many belts.
Yep. That's the tough thing about
Before everybody wanted to be the champion. So they had to, fight the champion. It's different.
Do you think, because I remember Michael Jordan, was quoted saying that when he was playing basketball, he first had to prove who he was before he got the big deals, like to get the Jordan brand and all that. And he said the same with everybody else. But now, like, to give basketball players these big commercial deals, even before they play one game, right? Do you think that something similar is happening in boxing where guys are getting these big paydays before they prove themselves? And then when it does come to proving themselves, they want even more money, and it's something that they can do, it creates a scenario where they are pricing themselves more.
Right. And social media has created so many superstars that shouldn't be superstars. They're superstars for what they do on the outside of the ring and the hype that they can create while they're training, not really while they're fighting. So it's, it's just a different time, unfortunately. I know social media is great for you guys, but in some way, I think it has hurt not just our sport, but lots of sports. And basketball is definitely probably one of them because, like you said, guys walk out of the college gym and into a huge multi-million-dollar deal. They never do have to prove themselves. Like Michael Jordan said, he had to prove himself. And he did, because so many people hated him. If you remember back in the day, everybody didn't love Michael Jordan.
Yeah, they called him selfish, and he was just a scorer, and he would never win. But hey, he proved him wrong. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Joe B didn't like him here, but he's a Celtics fan. That's why he didn't like him. But that's a different story.
I love Jerry Bird, so
I respected him, but I just thought he was kind of a mean dude to his teammates. That's all.
Well, you have to do what
I didn't like that he punched Steve Kerr in the face. I didn't think that was called for.
That's a bit much for basketball, though.
He just was. I think he wanted to win so badly, and everybody wasn't at his level, and so he would get frustrated easily.
He's pushing those guys, B. He's pushing them, right?
How were you in sparring? Were you like, did you want them to come at you hard? Was it just like, hey, take it easy? How was Christy Martin in training camp?
No, we sparred hard. I mean, I came up old school, and I sparred most of the time with guys, and my ribs broke up, my nose broke up, my eardrum popped once, ruptured, whatever, and lots of injuries. So I wanted to spar hard.
Looking back, would you change any of that, or would you just keep it the way it is, or the way it was? Like, would you maybe take it a little less, hard, so you don't break those ribs? And
no, I loved it. I mean, I sparred so many rounds with Jimmy Maloney. He was a pro, and he fought Fernando Vargas. He fought like 7 world champions, Randall Bailey. He lost to those guys, but he was in the ring with them, and we sparred hundreds of rounds, and we just went to war all the time. And he had enough experience that he could push me as hard as I could take it, and still hold up, just hold up a little bit and not break my ribs every time he hit me. Just every now and then.
A lot of times too, we hear about these. Oh, I hear some background. Sorry. Yeah, we hear about these stories about fighters talking about sparring sessions, and put it out to the public. And for me, I just think that shouldn't be done. That's because sparring is practice. You're there to try to help each other out. It never really happened during the day. You would never hear headlines. You never have like leaked sparring footage on YouTube. What are your thoughts on that when you see all that stuff? Because I don't like it myself, and I just think that sparring should be left in the gym.
Well, and not just sparring, but I tell my guys, I'm like, don't put any footage of yourself on the social media stuff. Like you're working out, you're hitting the mitts, you're whatever you're doing. Why? That's like inviting your opponent into the gym to watch you work out or to train with you. You wouldn't do that. So why are you putting it on social media? I know you want your friends to know you're in the gym, but that is just not your friends watching. It's everybody. So yeah, no, I'm not a fan of it. And whatever happens in the gym, sparring, it should stay in the gym between the teams that are in there.
Yeah, because I feel like, we see it a lot today where, trainers or fighters will say, yeah, I beat this guy up in sparring, I stopped him or whatever, made him quit. I mean, to me, that does more harm than good, because now it's like, why would anybody else want to go down there and spar with you? And especially a lot of times we found out that these guys are kind of over exaggerating what happened. So like, it's going to be hard for you now to get sparring partners to work, to get good work and training.
Right. And, yeah, if you're getting ready to fight this guy, let's say, because sometimes that happens, someone you sparred with earlier in your career, you now are fighting later, and you want to say, oh, I kicked their ass or I beat them up, but they couldn't stay in the gym with me. Well, how much excitement is that going to generate for the fight you're trying to sell?
Right. I have a question here from this is from Jamie7 from the UK. And his question is, in your role as a promoter, given that the Olympics just finished, is there any boxer from Tokyo that you saw that you would like to promote? Any of the amateur
actually,
fighters?
I had one of the guys. I had one of the guys from Haiti on one of my shows in Orlando, Errol Spence, and he's a really, really strong, seasoned fighter for somebody that's only had, he's had 2 pro fights, but a ton of amateur fights, a ton of amateur experience. He can fight. I would like to be able to move forward with promoting him, but these big guys with all those deep pockets, they swoop in there and grab up all those Olympic guys.
Well, just a quick question from the chat.
We had the females brought some medals home too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this was definitely a pretty solid year, especially since, the Americans they're more like, made for the pros and than the current amateur system. But we'll see where they go from here. The Don is asking, do you still have contact with Don King?
I did Don King's show for him January 29th in South Florida. It was Trevor Bryan fought Romaine Stevens. And I went down and ran the fight for him, hit a couple of my guys on the undercard. And it was fun. It was interesting and exciting to be in that role with him. And now we're working together. Alonzo Butler is his fighter. He's put him on my show in Myrtle Beach. And then also we're working together with Johnny Langston, who's a cruiserweight that's knocking on the world title door as well.
Awesome. Now, Lennox was best is asking, what do you think wins between Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall, and Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano? Are you familiar with Savannah Marshall?
I don't know Savannah Marshall, but I love Amanda Serrano. I mean, and Katie Taylor's good too, but Amanda Serrano is really, I like her. I like watching her fight, and I think she's got like the heart. She's old school. She's young, but younger, but she's old school. Yeah. She's old school.
But
she's from up in New York. She's been in Gleason's gym training, and
okay,
she's been around the old school guys.
Well, do you think she stands a good shot against Katie Taylor? You think she could beat her?
I think so. I think it's a great fight. It's a great fight for women's boxing. It's a great fight for women's boxing. And then that's the
That's
whole
the
thing.
fight.
And you know, with Taylor, at least Eddie Hearn's putting her on big undercards that people are seeing her fight instead of, you know, she's not trying to headline shows. She may have headlined a show, but like that's not her goal. Is I don't think she cares as long as people are seeing her.
Absolutely. Who do you think is the best pound for pound fighter in the sport today, Christy?
Well, I'll tell you my two favorite guys, and I don't know where they really rank best pound for pound and all that stuff, but Teofimo Lopez and Tank, they're my two favorites, and basically both of them for the same reason. They both talk the talk and walk the walk, and Teofimo especially. I mean, he's just I really like watching him fight. He's exciting. He goes out there and gets the job done. Tank, man, he's got that. I was ringside when he knocked out help me. The kid
Santa Cruz?
Yes, Santa Cruz. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
I mean, and Santa Cruz was doing, in my opinion, I thought he maybe was winning. Of course, he wasn't on the scorecards, but he was a great boxing exhibition that night.
Yeah, he was
And
holding
then,
his own.
boom,
He
there
was
came
in the
one
fight,
punch.
for sure.
But hey, was it?
He was holding his own.
I want to ask you this:
Yeah.
like, how many years too late do you think you caught Holly Holm? If, for example, if you caught her 5 years earlier, do you think you would have beat her? Like what? Like, you know, like how many years before do you think you would have beaten her?
I'll be very honest with you. And unlike most fighters and like most people that you're going to talk to, I don't know if I would ever have beaten her because she's a tall, long southpaw, and she didn't want to fight. You know, she moved and moved, and I chased and chased, and that style. We go to styles. You know, I don't know that I was ever going to beat that style. So maybe never. Didn't matter.
Okay, yeah, that's an honest answer. I like it.
You don't get honesty from many fighters, but
Right.
too old.
Well, most people say, yeah. There you go. After this Myrtle Beach card, do you have another card set up after that?
We were scheduled to go in Orlando September 18th, but Canelo was supposed to fight on that day, so I pulled the plug on my show for September, and now he's gone to November. But I'm just going to come back November 20 in Myrtle Beach, and then
we heard a lot about. We heard about a lot of fights not being made yet because they were waiting on Canelo to say, "Okay, I'm fighting on this date." So that's interesting. So that is something that even at your level, like as a promoter, you're looking at to see when this big name's going to fight in order to set up a card.
Oh, especially at my level because I'm just sort of local card. There's no way that I can go against Canelo on pay-per-view. I mean, you would have to have a huge ticket seller locally that probably isn't Hispanic to really even consider going against Canelo.
Right, exactly.
I don't know where that fight would be.
There you go. Well, I mean, come on, Canelo, set up a date already. But people need to eat. Like let's go.
That's the bad thing. Now he's talking about November, so hopefully he doesn't decide it's November 20. He goes early in November.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about, I mean, and maybe you have the answer to this, why not do an afternoon card on the day that Canelo's fighting?
I actually talked to some people about doing that, and they kind of thought it would, I thought it maybe was an okay idea. But they thought, no, it's too much boxing. If people are either going to come, they're just getting ready for Canelo that night. They're not going to come and watch a local club show and then go watch, Canelo's card. So, and then even with the commission, they're like, nah, Christy, it's really not a good idea. So,
right. You guys make sure next week you check out Netflix's Untold. They have a series. Next week will be Christy Martin. Make sure you go ahead and check that out. Anything else, Christy, you want to say to the fans out there watching?
Yeah, just thanks for all the support throughout everything, throughout my career, but more so really from the time that I was shot and stabbed and all that stuff happened, the support that I've gotten since then, and the support that Christy's Champs, my nonprofit for domestic violence awareness, gets from the boxing world is great. So just thank you, thank you, and please keep me in mind always.
Absolutely, absolutely. The one
Thank
and the
you,
only.
too.
Definitely. Well, we appreciate you coming on here. The legend, the Hall. Oh, one more question. How does it feel to officially be a Hall of Famer? Like you're
That's pretty
official
awesome.
now, right?
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Well, it actually was 2020, so it's going to be
Right.
2022 by the time we get to actually have an induction ceremony, and by then it's going to be 3 classes at once. So a little bit of the luster maybe will be taken away, but from now until the end of time, I can tell everybody that I'm a Hall of Famer. Actually, a few times over in the Nevada Hall of Fame as well. So California, the National Boxing Hall of Fame, which is in California. So cool. It makes me proud because people did take notice of the hard work I did during my career.
Well, there you go. All right, Chrissy, you have a good one.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Good night.
See you, champ.
Bye-bye.
Here we go, guys. The one and the only Christy Martin. All right. Great guest. Great stuff. Let me tell you something, man. I always enjoy having Christy Martin on. Now an active promoter. It's kind of cool to kind of listen to that perspective. Being that promoter is waiting for a Canelo Alvarez to make a decision and win the fight.
Bro,
dude, we need to work around this.
She is old school, man. I love it. Anybody that comes out here and says Mickey Mouse when they refer to things like, that is old school stuff, man. I love that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And we're going to bring on Elvis Garcia, 11-0, 8 knockouts. He'll be on the UFC Fight Pass card. That's a Lou DiBella card. Okay. How's it going, Elvis? How's it going, brother?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Everything good?
Doing well, man.
Yeah. We're doing well. We're doing well. You have a fight coming up, on the UFC Fight Pass, August 20th. That's the Lou DiBella card. You guys should, of course, subscribe to the UFC Fight Pass to check them out. Well, first of all, how's everything going so far? Preparation for the fight, etc.
Everything's going good right now so far. I'm doing my training in the morning and my strength and conditioning in the afternoon. Which is
there you go. Yeah. All right. Just curious, were your parents big Elvis Presley fans? Is that where the name came from?
Actually, my dad was a big Elvis Presley fan, and he said that he wanted to name one of his kids Elvis, and I guess that was me.
There you go.
Did he teach you how to dance like Elvis? That's the real question he wanted to ask.
So when you knock a dude out, right, and you walk out of the ring, and then you leave the building, does the announcer say Elvis has left the building? Is that like a thing or not? Not yet.
No, not yet. Maybe later on.
Do you walk out to any Elvis's songs for a fight?
No, I have a couple people that asked me to do it. They're like, "Hey, you should do it, Elvis." I was like, oh, "They'll be nice and come with the Elvis suit and everything." I was like, "I don't know, I don't know."
I'm all shook up. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, man, I being a Mexican heavyweight, now there is a precedent as far as people seeing a Mexican be a top contender like Arreola. They've seen a Mexican become a world champion, and Andy Ruiz. Do you get any inspiration out of that? Maybe not them directly, but just, knowing, what, I can do this. I can be part of this division, even though there's not a long history of Mexicans being part of it.
Yeah, it really does kind of motivate you, especially seeing like Andy Ruiz make it that high of a level. Like, it makes you believe it too. Like, yeah, no, I can be at that level as well.
I had a question about your last fight. I believe you weighed 222 for that fight, which is, I believe, the lowest you've ever weighed in your career. You've been as high as 262. What made you lose the weight, and how hard was it during this pandemic to take all that weight off? And do you feel much better at 222 than you did at 262?
Yeah, I feel way better, and It was really, really hard, especially because I did it like in around 4 months to lose all that weight, and
Wow,
I
that's
had
quick.
the right coaches, my nutritionist, and everybody, and they were just helping me out. And man, it was tough. It's tough because losing that weight so fast was just really hard.
Now the misconception is that you lost the weight, maybe you lost some power, but you still scored the knockout. Do you feel just as strong at 222 that you did at 262, or do you have more snap on your punches now?
Yeah, actually, I do feel better. I feel lighter. I feel like my air lasts a lot longer as well. Like I feel so much better at that weight. The only thing is, I felt like my punches were a little bit less heavy. So I lost a little bit of power, but I can gain that with muscle.
Yeah. Obviously, you're Mexican American, Andrew Ruiz, Mexican American, and you sparred with Joshua in preparation for his fight with Andrew Ruiz. Did you have any mixed emotions there when being in that camp?
Yeah, what happened right there?
Yeah,
I don't want to call you Benedict Arnold, but how'd you feel?
It was interesting. A lot of my family members were calling me Judas, like, you exposed yourself. I'm like, oh, business is business.
That is
part of
some
the game,
Mexican
right?
shit right there. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Look at this, man. The training with Anthony Joshua. First of all, how was it training with Anthony Joshua, right? Because you're training with the best, a heavyweight. Well, at the time, I guess going back for his title, but one of the best heavyweights in the world. And did it help you with your confidence? Did it, moving forward?
Yeah, it really did, because you get to see what's the champion material, what's the elite level. You get to see that, and I haven't had that many sparring with people in the elite level, so it kind of puts you in in a place to see where you're at and how far you need to go.
So if I'm not mistaken, that's just for the English audience here. So they were calling you Judas, right?
Judas, yeah.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, and the funny part, you did get your bag and you got paid for sparring, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? But
Hey,
but at the end of the day, look, man, if the opportunity comes, you take it, you know what I mean? Because this is a big learning experience for you to be there with Joshua. Now the fight already happened, so after that training camp, were you confident that he was going to get his belts back against Andy Ruiz?
Yeah, once he was like towards the end of the camp. At the beginning, I was like still kind of doubting.
Oh,
But
okay.
towards the end, I kind of figured it out. I was like, nah, he's starting to fight different. He's not exposing him. He's not putting himself in those situations where he did against Andy Ruiz in the first fight. So yeah, it was gonna be completely different, and I had that confidence that he was gonna win.
Now, did he spar you like he fought Andrew Ruiz? Did he box you from the outside during those sessions, or did you guys mix it up a little bit, or did you try to mix it up with him? Did you try to force the action inside, and was it hard to get there?
So the first 3 weeks, I was always forcing the pressure on him, always. And towards the end of camp, he started moving around me. He started moving. He started to like punch me, just
Stick and move.
stick and move, and it was making it hard for me to catch him or even just touch him. Like I couldn't even hit him. So that's when I started like seeing, okay, he's most likely going to win if he keeps this style throughout the fight.
Yeah. So you knew that style was going to work for him.
Yeah, it definitely was going to work for him.
So when you said that you felt like early on in camp that he didn't seem, I guess, as confident, but as camp went on, you could kind of see it growing. What was it? Do you think it was something mental, or do you think it was something physical with Joshua early on in camp?
I don't know. I think it might have been a little bit more physical, because I can throw a lot of punches. So when he tried to exchange with me, he wasn't able to keep up the amount of the punches I would throw. So that's what made it complicated for him. But once he kept his distance and used that long reach he had, that's when he made it hard for me.
So would you say the secret to beating him is just getting in his chest and just throwing quick combinations on the inside on him and not
Yeah.
giving him that space?
That's exactly what I was doing the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Do you feel you gave him too much? 'Cause, well, what if you get a title shot? Like, did you keep some stuff from him? Like, you know what? I'm not going to show him everything now. You know, because
Oh,
well, what if you get your shot? You already showed him all your tricks.
Nah, I didn't show him everything. And plus,
Okay.
plus right now, I think I learned even more so far of
Yeah.
just fighting my last couple of fights. I've been improving a lot more. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Plus,
different.
it was a big benefit from you because modern day heavyweights, that's how big they are. You know what I mean? They're big, tall dudes, 6'6", 6'7". So being able to box with the best at that, I mean, it's going to be a benefit for you moving forward. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, definitely. And I've been getting used to sparring a lot of tall people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I seen in the case of Ruiz versus Joshua how obviously Ruiz is not the tallest heavyweight. So he had a little bit of advantage fighting, he's used to fighting guys much bigger than him, as where Joshua might not be. Joshua has a fight lined up now with another smaller heavyweight, a guy who's actually moving up from cruiserweight in Usyk. What do you think his chances are to win that fight? I'm talking Usyk over Joshua.
I think he is gonna win it, honestly, with just keeping his distance on him the way he did it with Reese. Just that Usyk, I think he's a little more smarter and more slick. So we'll see how it turns out, but I wouldn't know. I'm not really good at that.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
Now you
look. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. You have 4 fights this year, and that's a busy year, considering the pandemic as well. Mm-hmm. Do you think if all goes well, you can squeeze another one maybe in December, or is this going to probably be the last fight of the year for you?
No, hopefully I can get this one and one more if I can.
Yeah, because real busy year.
Busy as I can.
Yeah, a lot of fights.
Yeah. Stay ready, so you got to get ready. That's what they say, right?
That's right. Has the pandemic affected you? Like, are there fights that, or would you have had more fights by now if it wasn't for the pandemic, or are you all right?
Definitely. I think I would have had way more fights if it wasn't for the pandemic. Maybe not this year, but I'm sure last year. Last year I would have had a lot more.
Yeah.
All right.
So we kind of talked about how there's not a long history of Mexican fighters in the heavyweight division, So, coming up in the game as you were young training, were your inspirations in boxing, were they heavyweights or were they the smaller guys, which, the smaller divisions, which we tend to have a lot more champions at?
It was the smaller divisions. Never really looked at the heavyweights because all the Mexicans were in the smaller weight classes. So
right.
Look up to what's his name, Fernando Vargas, Oscar de la Hoya. Just kept it in that range. What's his name, Juan Manuel Marquez, and those are the type of fighters I will be watching.
Now, do you pattern your style a little bit after those guys? You take a little piece of them, one guy, this guy's guy, then add it to your stuff, or do you have your own unique style?
Actually, I was grabbing a little bit of everybody, but mostly, I think most of it is just by the training. I just like it was a mentality of like a Mexican fighter, forward, and little by little just got adjusted by my trainers. So after that, I started working different things, and let's see what I can apply that could be a little bit unique when it comes to the boxing.
Nice.
Do you want to fight Andy Ruiz? Is that a fight that you think, first of all, would be a fireworks, and is that something that you're looking at as a possibility?
Actually, yeah, I've been having like my little dreams and stuff like that. Just imagining myself fighting them, and yeah, I would like to actually fight them in the future.
Okay, all right. It's you think those are dreams or visions you're getting? What
I think they're visions.
All right, there you go.
Visions is like, I think I can see that. I can see a possible fight like that. Be big.
Okay. Do you I mentioned earlier about the size of the heavyweights today, and in boxing, and we see like sometimes southpaws have an advantage because they see orthodox fighters more than vice versa than orthodox see southpaws. Do you feel you have an advantage sometimes against these tall guys because you see more of them than they see guys like your height, your size?
I, depends really. Like it depends when I spar. Sometimes I be sparring so many short people that if I fight somebody tall, it kind of like it throws me off. But when I be sparring a lot of tall people, and then I go to compete against somebody that's tall, it makes it a lot easier for me.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. So right now, I mean, you're about to fight. What do you know about your opponent? You know, and what type of fight are you anticipating?
I think the way coach kind of told me we were going to practice is that he's going to be coming forward. So it's just move around a little bit, put a little bit of pressure, see how the rounds go by the first and second round, kind of test them out a little bit, and after that start working.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. Sounds good. That's Rafael Rio. So that's going to be in. I cannot pronounce that. The Siquan Casino. All right. So it's going to be an 8 round. Okay. So did you get a chance to watch Torres in the Olympics in a super heavyweight bout, the gold medal match?
Yeah.
Did you have an opportunity?
Yeah.
What was your opinion about that fight? What was your opinion about it?
The way I saw it was the referees were kind of like judging Torres for putting his head down.
Yeah,
and
that was weird.
And the thing is that I know Jalolov because I sparred him before, and he does that during sparring. He pulls the guy's head down always. So it was kind of frustrating for me seeing that because I knew what's his name Jalolov does that. He always pulls the guy's head down, and the guy Torres was getting blamed for something that somebody was doing to him. So that it was really frustrating for me when I saw that.
Yeah, I feel like the ref ruined what would have been a great fight when he took away the point, and you know, it's kind of like I cannot pronounce that dude's name. Your pronunciation is epic. It's great, but but maybe he would have won anyway. But it would have been a tougher fight, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I just think it kind of took the wind out of the sails of the fight. Me personally.
Yeah, well, it kind of got him into a disadvantage because he started giving him warnings, so he started to worry about him putting his head down when he wasn't doing it. So it made it hard for him to try to adjust.
Now the card's going to be on UFC Fight Pass. Do you know if your fight is going to be broadcast live on UFC Fight Pass as well, or do they show the whole card, or do they just show a specific number of fights, like the first 4 fights, first top fight for like top 4 fights of the card? Do they show the whole card, or just the main event and a couple of co-features?
Well, they said I was going to be the one that starts up the show, and then they start the 4 titles or something like that.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he's going to be on because Lou DiBella tweeted out. He retweeted my post.
Awesome.
He'll be on.
Awesome. That'll be great.
Yeah, so people could see him on the UFC Fight Pass for sure. And is there any any opponent you feel that's realistic that you could be fighting next, that you like to fight next?
Actually, I've been what's his name? Frank Sanchez. I would like to fight.
Oh, okay. Out of Canelo training camp.
That's a great matchup. That
would be a good matchup for me.
I mean, that'll be a good way to, let Andy Ruiz know, hey, just beat your teammate, bro. You know what I mean? No, but that's a good fight. Why not? Why not? Let's do it. So I'm looking forward to that. So, whenever like what are your plans your long-term plans in boxing? Are you planning to do this for a long time? Do you already have like a set kind of like I'm going to do this for 5 years? Like, well, what's your, how do you foresee your future in boxing?
Well, I do see myself doing it for maybe 6 or 7 years, and and then probably retiring after that. But who knows? In that time, with time, we just don't know.
Right. So yeah, you could end up being 42 years old like Pacquiao, like still fighting. You know what I mean? Who knows?
Right.
So, you just never know. One more question I want to ask you. A lot of boxing fans, I always talk about fear, fighters being scared and all that stuff, right? How often, if any time, do you see fighters in the gym and sparring, fighters whatnot, amateur pros, that you've seen them scared to fight somebody? Is that something that's even a thing with professional boxers?
I think it is, yeah. I've seen a couple fighters that show a little bit of fear, especially if you see your opponent and then you can see him with a little bit of insecurities, like right away you can tell this guy is not ready for this fight. So there might be some fear in there.
Okay.
Speaking of the Olympic boxing, before you turned pro, did you ever consider going into the Olympics? Was that ever a desire of yours?
Yeah, actually it was. I was trying to qualify for the 2016 Olympics. I went and competed I represented Mexico in the national team and went to the qualifiers, the pre-Olympic qualifiers in Argentina. But I came really short against Argentina.
Well, obviously now the rules have changed and pros can be in the Olympics. Is that something you would revisit at some point?
I don't know. Actually, I would have no idea. Maybe, but it's just I kind of like to leave that to the amateurs.
I gotcha.
So I had my opportunity. I missed it, and I feel I have to let somebody else take it.
I gotcha.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, look, man, I want to thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. We'd like to have you back, especially after your fight, just kind of follow up and follow your career moving forward, man, here on Hispanics Causing Panic. Do you have a social media like Instagram, Twitter, where people can follow you?
Yeah, so I have it's Elvis.Garcia98.
Elvis.Garcia98, okay. What is that, Twitter?
No, that's for Instagram. I don't have
Instagram. No, Twitter. Okay, all right, cool. Twitter's just for old guys like us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's all good. But okay, so everybody follow him on Instagram and all that good stuff. Anything you want to say to the fans watching out there? Let the Mexican fight fans know you're not a Ugas, or you're just doing your job,
Yeah, they all know. Everybody's really supportive about it too. So I'm just happy that I got the opportunity, right? So yeah,
just
to the fans, come watch me fight and watch me carry that Nayarit flag on my back.
There we go.
There you go.
Just tell Andy it was nothing personal. That's all.
Yeah. And we need you to walk out to Jailhouse Rock one of these fights, man, for Elvis.
I actually met him.
You met Andy?
I met him after like I want to say like 2 months ago.
Okay.
Was
it cool about it? Was it was it kind of side-eyeing you a little bit, or was it like,
Well, he remembers me because he saw me in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
So when he saw me, he just kept looking at me, and because I talked to him in Spanish, he was just like,
he's like, "What are you doing over there?
Yeah. So,
you're in the wrong camp, brother."
So when he sees me again, he just starts looking at me. He's like, "I've seen this guy before." Like that, he just gave me that look, and he goes up and he says hi and everything, and I'm just like, "Hey, I helped out Anthony Joshua," and he just smirked at me. He's like, "Oh, okay." You're the reason I lost.
The reason I lost. Yeah, there we go. Well, at the end of the day, it kind of is what it is. One more question before I let you go.
Yeah.
A lot of us were disappointed with Andy Ruiz, so the shape he came in for that fight, Were you expecting him to be in better shape? I know you said you thought Joshua was going to win after the preparation, but were you expecting an Andy Ruiz in better shape than that? Or did you kind of suspect he might come out of shape, given everything that was on social media? Like, he was eating pizzas and eating tacos with the Saudi prince. So it wasn't that surprising to me, but how did you feel about it?
Well, I actually was expecting like a completely different version from the first one. I was like, oh, he's probably gonna come like 10 times better than the first time he came to the first fight. So I was actually expecting a way better Andy Ruiz. Wasn't expecting what the weigh-in showed. So when he stepped on the scale, we were just like, oh, wow. So we're not gonna get the Andy Ruiz or the Andy Ruiz from the last fight. We're gonna get a different one. So it's sad because, you know, either way, I in some way I was supporting him.
Yeah. Is he really 6'2"? Because he doesn't look 6'2". He must, like, you stood next to him. Is he really 6'2"?
No.
You got like 2 inches on him, right? You got like 2 inches on him easy, right?
Yeah, you help AJ beat him, and then you tell everybody he ain't 6'2". You know what I mean?
You gotta tell the truth. You gotta tell the truth. That's all. You gotta tell the truth. He ain't 6'2". He ain't 6'2". He's about 6 feet, right? About 5'11".
5'11", 6 feet around there. Yeah,
I told him.
Okay. Well,
I believe you.
Because when I was looking in the Wikipedia and I saw 6'2", I was like, okay. And then I walk up to him and I see him like he's shrinking. I'm like, what? Wait a second.
He's up to your eyebrows, right? He's up to your eyebrows, right?
He's getting shorter as you walk up to him. Like,
did a stare down with him. You had to look down on him.
Yeah, I was like, okay. It's not what I expected. Maybe it's a different.
I don't know what to say right now. I thought. So what is he? 6 foot, maybe?
About 6 foot.
About 6 foot, yeah.
I told you.
Now, are we rounding up? Is it 5'11 3/4, or is it 6 foot?
This is with shoes on too. With the shoes off, he's probably 5'10" and a half. I told you. You don't want to listen.
Oh man. Well, with that said, hey man, it's been great having you on, brother. And you know, I don't like saying best of luck because I don't think it comes down to luck anyway. You know what I mean?
Have a good fight.
Have a good fight.
Menos suerte.
Yeah, buena suerte. But that means good luck. But either way, right? All right, have a good one, brother.
All right, thank you. Have a good one too.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Man,
you said don't say good luck, so I said buena suerte. It's the same thing, but I didn't say good luck.
Elvis Garcia. That means good luck. It means good luck in Spanish.
Hey,
Tony Boswell. Yeah, Elvis has left the building, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Boswell, much respect, HCP in the chat. I stopped in to show support and hit the like button, working and listening. Hey, man, I definitely appreciate the support, brother. Coco Don, thank you for that super chat from earlier, too, saying thank you. Most definitely. Teresa D says, don't forget to jab that like button. We're at 104 likes, you know, so I definitely want to thank you guys tuning in. To Christy Martin and Elvis.
Big shout out.
You know what I mean?
Big shout out to you guys in the chat for coming through, hitting that like.
I'm gonna order that. I've never ordered a UFC Fight Pass. I'm gonna order that because I want to see him. That's why I asked him. That's why I asked him if his portion of if his fight was going to be televised or broadcast.
Hey, you know what? I enjoyed that interview, man. I enjoyed how transparent he was.
Really nice guy.
And I wondered, like, because he was honest. He was like, man, I didn't think Joshua was going to win early on in that training camp.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Lou was talking about him on the Boxing Voice yesterday with Ness. And he was saying, you know, this guy's got it. Like, he's got the personality, he's got the look, and he can fight. And I like his personality. He's really has a good personality. He's very well spoken.
If Anthony Joshua kept him for old training camp, he's good. If it wasn't good, they would have sent him home, bro.
They would have sent him home, yeah.
They would have been like, what the hell? This dude ain't no good. Yeah. No Paul Boxiano says HCP. Catch No Paul on with A-Rod on Chile every week. Okay, so all that good stuff. Much appreciated, brother. All that good stuff. Hey, man, I want to get right to it, guys. All right.
It's your fault.
I don't know. It's not my fault, bro. What do you mean it's my fault?
It's your fault.
It's 2021's fault. I got a beef with 2021.
You called me up. You called me up Sunday. You already put the hex on the fight.
No, I said, well, why is Manny Pacquiao?
I told you. Don't even.
I said.
I had a nightmare because of what you said to me on Sunday.
What? Come on.
Man,
I dreamed the fight wasn't going to happen. I dreamed the fight wasn't going to happen because of what you told me on Sunday.
So I put a hex on it. No, bro, let me tell you something. 2021, I got a beef with 2021. 2021 It's on site. 2021, I'm gonna knock you out, bro. What do you mean you give us fights and then you take it to fight? I give it the fight, I take it to fight. Here's a fight, psych. Like 2021 thinks is a game. I'm not playing with 2021. I have a beef with 2021, babe. I have a beef with this year. I don't like this year. What's up, year? Bring it. What do you got? I don't believe this year anything. I don't believe I'm done with this year, bro. Is it December 31st yet?
We need Canelo Plant now. We need that fight. If that fight doesn't happen, then forget about it.
Well, I mean,
I need my fix.
Did you see what Caleb Plant put out there, bro? He's got mouth guards with Undisputed, man. They don't make those for nothing, B.
There you go, G. See, G's not jinxing. G's not jinxing fights like you.
I saw those mouth guards on Wish.com, bro. You ordered them on Wish.com. Stop.
He's not saying that Caleb Plant's in crowds trying to get COVID so he can cancel the fight. He's not jinxing the fight like you are.
G's after the Saunders
G's
fight,
being positive. G's being positive. See, that's what you got to do.
That's right, baby. That's right.
Look, I'm telling you right now, I cannot believe this. Christine texted me, not AD style. I'm back from Tokyo, or like, you know what I mean? It's the fight's off. Like the fight's off.
I was at work. I looked down at my phone. And I started shaking my head. I'm going, oh no. And then everyone's looking at me. Is everything all right? Did something happen? You need to leave? Yeah. Like they thought like someone was sick, or like in the hospital or something, a close family member. And I said, no, Errol Spence got a retinal tear. The fight's off. They were like, who's Errol Spence? I was like, what?
What? It's not a big of a deal. I thought you were dying or some shit. Like, what's going on over here?
I was like, oh no. You know what? I'm going to say something crazy. That car accident could have had an effect and could have contributed to it, because people think that all you have to do is get hit in the eye, because the retina's in the back of the eye, right? So if you slam your head real hard, like skateboarders and stuff, my optometrist was telling me, like skateboarders that like they have even though they had the helmet on, they bang their head. He did banged his mouth, banged his head off the curb. You saw what happened, his teeth. So that could have done some damage. We don't know.
2021. Y'all know how I get. Well, why are you booking fights? You know what I mean? Like, well, why are you booking fights if you know how I am? If you know I'm gonna give a dude COVID, you know a dude's gonna like get an injury. Why are you getting all excited for these fights? 2021's like, why are you all excited?
Well, stop jinxing these fights.
And by the way, Ugas Pacquiao's not a bad fight, but it's not.
I like
Spence.
I like the fight. I do, man.
Yeah,
I think
but it's not
Pacquiao
Pacquiao Spence.
I would say no. I would agree it's not on the magnitude, because I mean, Spence is more popular. Although I don't think he's crossed over yet, like a Pacquiao. But I think Ugas brings some different things to the table that Spence can't. So I'm looking forward to it still. I mean, obviously I want to see Spence, but he got an injury, man. And this shit happens.
He's going to be out for a while too.
Well, at the end of the day, the WBA comes out looking like geniuses here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't have to do the shit. Like, they didn't have to strip Ugas, right? And then now they're going to get a sanctioning fee anyway. Like, they come out on top.
The WBA just hit the lottery. They're like a little kid at Christmas morning right now, because now they're going to get a big fat sanctioning fee instead of a little bitty one that they were going to get.
There you go. Like, their reward. Yeah. Look at this boxing rewards to WBA. After what happened last weekend, like, we're going to go after the WBA. Well, no, nothing's going to happen to the WBA.
Yep.
And you think PBC cares? You think PBC is going to take a stand? Oh no! You had that judge. No, you robbed that fighter in our Saturday card last week. Okay, that only a hardcore boxing fan saw. And let me tell you something. You will get rid of her, and you will do something about it. We're not going to put this fight for the WBA title. Do you understand me? You think they're going to do that? No, they're not going to do shit.
No. Big question for you guys. Is this fight still? Is the card still pay-per-view worthy now? I'm going to say yes, because it's Manny Pacquiao. And I haven't seen him in 2 years.
I would say I would agree. He's a draw.
Look at D-Style. D-Style's
He's
already
got-
he's frowning because he jinxed it. He jinxed it. It's his fault
He's-
anyways. He
he's
has no
got
right
his-
to frown.
He's got his loyal followers, man. You know, they love Pacquiao. You know, the Filipino people, they come out big time in support for Manny Pacquiao. So yeah, I would say on that level, yes, definitely. You know, and look, Ugas got himself an opportunity of a lifetime here, man. If he comes in here and throws a monkey wrench in the program and wins this fight, oh my gosh, like it changes his whole career, you know. But we'll see, man. I'm excited for the fight. I like Ugas, man.
I thought Ugas beat Porter.
Me too. Me too.
Well, I'm gonna get my inner Eric Lorda here, but that's Porter.
Ohio,
You know what I
son.
mean? Like,
All right.
no, like Porter.
No, he disowned him.
there.
He disowned Porter because he moved to Vegas. He doesn't claim him.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah,
You don't want to
can't
claim
move out of
him.
here.
You don't
You
want to
can't
claim
do
him
that.
anymore. You don't want to claim him anymore.
You can't move out of. You can't
Oh.
move out of. You know, where you're from, bro.
Just like I'm from Everett, but I live in Revere now. I go back to Everett. They throw rocks at me. I can't go back to my city. So I left.
Hey, did you guys hear that? Like Ugas' opponent also had an injury,
Yeah.
like
I didn't
in
hear
the
that.
eye. Like, what is going on here? There was ever time for a conspiracy theory.
It's your fault.
Dun dun dun. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on with these eyes, bro? You know what I think happened? Pacquiao's mom was doing brujeria on all this shit because she didn't want her son to fight Spence. You know what I mean? She was like, you know what I mean? She was doing that shit, and then the fucking yeah. And then the injury happened, and then the injury to the Ugas fight, and then now he's gonna fight Ugas, who doesn't have a high KO ratio.
Gee,
You know, all of a sudden.
Sunday morning, I'm on the treadmill. I get this call. Beeb, what do you think about Pacquiao training in front of the crowd, like a big crowd? I have a feeling something's going to happen. What if he gets COVID or something? I'm a little worried about this fight. And what happens a couple of days later? The fight gets called off.
It was D-Style. He was the one.
This
that
can't
was
be.
playing
This can't
and
be a
doing the robot.
coincidence. This can't be a coincidence.
Hey, Chicano Prophet, since we're going to be moving on from this fight, wouldn't mind hearing the panel say what their Pacquiao versus Spence would have been. Thank you for the support, brother. Much appreciated. I had Spence winning a competitive fight. That's what I had. A decision, 8-4, 7-5 type fight. Maybe even controversial, but that's how I had it, Beeb.
I actually thought, the more and more I thought about it, I thought Pacquiao's style was going to present a lot of problems. I thought Pacquiao was going to eke out a decision. I thought he could. I thought he could do it. Yeah.
G Funky.
I was definitely favoring Spence going into this. You know, he's obviously younger, bigger, more active. You know, I don't like the 2 years out of the ring. He's 42. That's a lot of ring rust to shake off, you know. And I mean, if anybody can shake it off, you know, Pacquiao obviously is a great fighter. You know, he can do it, but that's a lot to overcome, you know. But I do think that the fight would have been competitive because there are some things that I see about the clash of styles between those two that could give Spence some trouble, you know. But or Dennis Ugas is a whole different, it's a whole different fight, you know.
The thing about Ugas, though, he's not a real big puncher. So that's going to help Pacquiao.
Yeah, it's going to help Pacquiao a lot. And I let me tell you something, man. One thing, even though I know you guys, I believe both of you said you felt Ugas won that fight, but the one thing Porter had to do was kind of come in and out. But Manny does that way better than Porter.
Well,
so,
Porter was fighting on the outside when he fought Ugas.
Yeah.
He wasn't using the, well, you remember anyways, right? He wasn't doing the ambush tactics. But
Right.
but Porter versus Spence, that the in and out movement gave Spence a lot of problems.
A lot of trouble.
Yeah.
A lot of trouble. He got him on the back foot, you know, and Spence
was chasing him. He was chasing him, following around the ring.
And
I ain't buying this fight, by the way. I ain't buying
it.
You're not going to buy it after you destroyed the main event. You're not going to buy it.
I didn't. First of all, Pacquiao would have had to pull out for this to be my fault. That's not what happened. You know what I mean? The opposite happened. Which I want to ask this, right? You know, so This is a pretty serious. It could be anyway. There's not every retina tear, detached retina is the same, right? So it just depends, right? And hopefully, knock on wood, hopefully Spence comes out of this, because I want to see Spence again. I want to see. I want to see him back in the ring. I want to see him Crawford at one point. You know what I mean? I don't know. Do you think he'll ever be the same here? I mean,
no optometrist, or not ophthalmologist, I should say, not optometrist. No ophthalmologist can ever guarantee you, once they do the surgery, that if you do combat sports, that you're not going to tear it again. Yeah. A lot of times it's been torn multiple times. I'll be honest with you. If I was a professional fighter and I tore a retina and I was coming back from it, for instance, who's the British MMA guy? The guy that George St. Pierre beat. What's his name? Oh shit, Michael Bisping. He's partially blind in one eye right now because he kept fighting, right? Yep. Because he had, I think he tore a retina and he got some surgeries, but he just kept fighting, and he's partially blind in one eye now. So Sugar Ray Leonard tore the retina, came back, and the ophthalmologist said to him, "Yeah, I mean, I got it tacked back in there, but there's no guarantee it's not going to tear again if you get hit."
It's a tough situation for fighters, and just to think about looking at the eye. If you guys remember, back in school when you were studying, body parts and stuff like that. I mean, we're talking about the smallest little tiny wires that connect from the back of your eye to your brain to process everything that you look at. It's such a complicated thing, to me, I feel like it's almost impossible. Even with surgery, it's almost impossible to have that eye come back 100% after this. Fighters have come back from it. Like you mentioned, one of the most famous fighters of all time, Sugar Ray Leonard. That happened during the Tommy Hearns fight back in 1982, I believe, and he continued to fight for a long time. So it could happen, but
Mars is still having problems with his eyes right now. He can't really fight again. He had to retire.
It's a very serious thing, not just for fighting, but for life.
I think he tore one in both eyes actually, and then one of the eyes, I think he had 2 surgeries. If you look at his eyes right now, they're not there's.
They don't look right. Yeah,
you could tell something was wrong with them. So
you're on mute, D-Style.
Oh, my bad. What do you guys make of the fact that he got several second opinions? I think 3 of them, or second and third opinion, I should say.
Spence did?
Yeah. Do you think it's a sign that he really wanted to fight? And they're telling him no just after they did a physical or something?
The problem is, once the worse the tear is, the harder the surgery becomes. So if that thing is hanging off, if that thing is flapping off, you're not going to be able to see out of it. You're gonna have this blood floaters in your eye. So you're going to be essentially fighting with one eye. So you really can't fight with that.
Yeah.
You need your eyes, man. They're pretty essential to life.
In other words, if he would have gotten away with it and they went on with the fight, he'd be in trouble if he fought Pacquiao. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
There's. Do you think, I saw Calix tweet this out? Maybe there was some insiders that knew about this, and that's why there was some sharp money in the betting odds. That could explain why they were.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and I said this to Eric, and a lot of people laughed at me when I said this. I think I said this to you as well. When I was watching Pacquiao training as opposed to watching Deontay Wilder training, I wasn't looking for any tactical changes. I was just looking to see if the snap was still there and the speed was still there. And I didn't see much. Obviously, there's going to be some decline. We're not going to lie to ourselves and say that he's the same as he was 10 years ago. But I was watching him, and I was saying to myself, he's still faster than he's probably, you can make an argument, he's still the fastest welterweight in the world, with his hands and feet.
Yep.
Right.
Even with the slippage, So
he's got the speed of a lightweight. There's no doubt about it.
I didn't see much slippage. I didn't see that much of a difference. He looked far from a 42-year-old training. So I was looking to see if the speed was there, if the snap was there, the reflexes, the coordinate, and I saw very minimal slippage. I'll have to be honest with you. And Spence, he didn't knock out Mikey Garcia, he didn't knock out Porter. So you got Porter, Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia. So like his last 3 fights went the distance, and I didn't think they were like dynamic. I didn't think he dominated. I mean, he dominated the Mikey Garcia fight, but I was surprised he couldn't get him out of there. You know what I mean? So like, how was Garcia able to survive that fight? Should have took him out.
Yeah, I agree.
And even though he was coming off the car accident or whatever, Danny Garcia did better than I thought he would do against him. So did Sean Porter. So, maybe
Porter was before the car crash.
Yeah, and then Porter was before the car crash too. And then the car crash. I didn't think he looked spectacular against Danny Garcia. That was like an 8-4 type fight, which is a clear win. But, I just did not see that dynamic Errol Spence that I was used to seeing, So.
Well, what do you think of this, though? I mean, before we move on, so I know Chief Funky brought this up earlier, but what do you think about the energy, quote unquote, not being the same? Right. In this case, for a lot of the PBC fanboys out there, right? Me, obviously, I have the same reaction for the most part when this stuff happens. But in this case, I don't see a lot of the, he's pulling out, he's trying to get out of the fight. And that we see a lot, with a lot of the fanboys out there. So what are your thoughts on that, Chief Funky?
Well, I did do a quick live before we went live here on your channel about it. I think it's these guys expose themselves for pushing bullshit narratives like always. Fighters that they love, they're gonna find every excuse in the book to make it look like it's a legit thing. And I believe it is a legit thing. But then you go on and you talk about Fury, you talk about Teofimo Lopez, all these guys, they faked COVID. They're a bunch of pussies, they're bitches, they're ducks, they're this, they're that, they need more time. The pay-per-view's not going to sell. They need the ticket sales are bad. I mean, the list goes on and on and on for everything they said about these guys that they don't like, but when it's their guy, it's like, Spence, get better, man. This could be a blessing in disguise, and all this other crap, man. They cut the bullshit. All right, just keep the same energy, okay? You want to call out all these other guys talking about how they're faking? Then you know what? You're just gonna have to take it, bro. You're gonna have to take that shit. People are gonna come back at you, man. You got to take it, and it's really funny to see them not keep the same energy when it comes to this type of stuff. And in no way do I think Spence is faking or anything like that. I think this is a serious thing. But just like COVID, it's a serious thing. Motherfuckers are dying left and right out there from COVID. So it's not a game, man. You guys want to make light of stuff, then don't get mad when people make light of your fighters either, man.
Gee, what about this one? I want to see the medical reports.
Exactly.
You fucking idiots. It's a HIPAA violation. No one is ever going to show you their medical reports. they don't have to. It's a HIPAA violation.
You can't.
Idiots.
I work in education in the school district. It's a HIPAA violation. You cannot show those medical reports, man, if you get COVID.
Well, why does the commission have it? Well, because the commission has to medically clear the fighter. It's a different situation.
Exactly.
Big Dog Willie, thank you for the support. He says fake COVID-19 is real.
So is fake retina injuries.
I don't think fake COVID-19 is real. I don't know if that's real, but I don't know if Big Dog Willie's just joking. But at the end of the day, what I'll say is this. Be careful with the things you say about fighters, because then people are going to hold your feet to the fire when it happens to one of your favorite fighters, right? If you're going to be calling, fighters bitches and all types of P words and B words and all that other shit, right? Then, hey, like it's going to come back. Like, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I am just saying. So here's the next kind of quick segment we want to do here, guys. I have a question.
Something up, but never mind.
Go ahead, real quick. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, do you remember hearing things after Billy Joe decided to quit on the stool when he got his eye socket broken and his orbital bone broken? You got another eye? What's wrong with you, huh? You could have kept fighting. You got another eye. I am not hearing none of that shit from the other side today. None of that shit.
Listen, if I'm Billy Joe Saunders and I'm in that corner, my eyes like that, I'm telling my coach, you better fucking pull me out of this fight or I'm fucking walking out. I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting. I'm not.
Yo, Canelo walked back to the corner. Reynoso wants to give him instructions. He's like, it's over. Like, what do you mean it's over? That's it. I broke his eye. It's over. Like, he saw it and he knew it was over. Like, it collapsed, guys. Like, what do you want? Like, you know, the Don says, ouch, mi pinche retina. This guy.
I am not. Right? I am not going to fight a guy like Canelo with one eye and a fractured face. I don't think anyone on YouTube and anyone in that chat and anyone that is calling friggin' Billy Joe Saunders the P word, they would not go out there either. So do not hold other people to a standard you do not hold yourself to. Tell that to everybody.
But Beeb, these guys are warriors, huh? These are warriors.
Yeah, they're really warriors. They can type on that keyboard like a fucking beast.
So Big Dog Willie says, another super chat. In terms of Fury, fake COVID is real. You know, I have to be honest, brother. After every COVID positive that was happening weekend after weekend after weekend on the Zone, on PBC, on Matchroom, on Top Rank, on every promotional, I just had to lighten my stance on Fury and say, I guess the wolf was out. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean, by the way, that I give Fury a pass for being out in the streets. The optics of it wasn't good, or that he didn't get his vaccines, right? Both of them, but that's how I feel about it. Okay.
If Fury is faking COVID, then everyone's faking COVID. Then COVID.
Was Gerald Washington faking it? Was Conor Benn faking it? Like, I didn't hear any of that shit.
Gerald Washington was on PBC. It was on PBC.
So Teofimo Lopez faked it. Everyone faked it. Yeah. I faked it too. I faked it too. It was my allergies. I wasn't fucking coughing and I wasn't freaking. I didn't feel like I had an anvil on my chest. No. When the thermometer said 99.5, it was fake. Someone put a match underneath it. It wasn't real.
So I want to go ahead and go to the HCP. That is Hispanic Causing Panic of the Week. I'm going to nominate Christina Cruz, who made her pro debut on Trilla. She did her thing, won, long amateur career, and then she's back, and then she was on Uncensored yesterday. Check out that interview. That's where I'll put. It's definitely a slow week, but Chief Funky, who do you nominate?
That's a good one, man. That's a good one. I might have to jump on that train with you. I wanted to say Guillermo Rigondeaux, El Chacal.
Why not? He's causing a lot of panic on Twitter. Yeah, I'll tell you right now. I don't know if that's him. They're saying it's a handler, but he don't speak English. Like, how's he tweeting English like that? But
yeah, I was gonna say Rigo, but I'm gonna wait for him to win this Saturday. And that's right, I did say that he's gonna win this Saturday. So next week, I'm hoping that we can call El Chacal the HCP of the week. But I'll roll with Christina Cruz, man. Good interview yesterday. If you didn't see it, check it out. It's over on my channel. Good interview we did with her.
Okay. All right. Beeb. Any Hispanic you feel could be the Hispanic causing panic of the week?
Elvis Garcia.
Okay, Elvis Garcia.
I like him.
All right. Elvis Garcia. Okay. I think he caused some panic. All right. There we go. There's a lot going on, but if you guys want to let me know, anybody, go ahead. And I'm also going to nominate Canelo because he caused a whole lot of panic. I mean, the dude can't even do cards right now. He postponed and everything because I need a poll. So I'm going to have to put somebody else. So Canelo it is. And you guys let me know who wins the Hispanic panic of the week.
Canelo is stopping cards left and right because he hasn't picked a date yet. But he's not the face of boxing, right? Spence is bigger, like get out of here, man.
It's just the truth, right? Yeah. Well, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the topic here, guys. Franco Maloney trilogy. Just your quick thoughts here. This is for the WBA regular super flyweight title. Don't let the super before the flyweight confuse you. It's for the regular super flyweight. That's 115 pound. This fight will be on ESPN, ESPN Plus. It's a top ranked fight. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Beeb, who's gonna win the trilogy, man? Who's gonna come out on top here? From what do you see after you've seen both fights there?
I thought Andrew Maloney was doing well in the rematch, and I thought he kind of figured him out a little bit. I thought he got his spacing down. I'm gonna say Maloney's gonna win a decision. I think he's gonna put on a classic masterclass performance. I think he's gonna outbox him.
Oh wow. Okay, all right. Big Dog, what it says? I forgot I'm talking to the Fury Protection Team, he says. Oh, thanks for the super chat. And shout out to the dog.
Big Dog.
It says Canelo's my HCP of the week, looking like a genius. All right. We'll go over the poll right now. G Funky, have you changed your mind about Franco versus Maloney?
I have not. As you guys all know, last year around this time, or maybe a little bit earlier than August last year, they fought, and I picked Franco for the upset. Dropped a little feria on the line, got some good money back on that one. So yeah, I think I think that these two guys, it's a good clash of styles, with these two fighters. The first fight was a really good fight. Franco, his pressure took over late in the fight. He hurt Maloney. He got a knockdown, I believe it was in the 11th round of that fight. They come back a few months later for the rematch. Controversy, Bob Arum, upset. Hey, we're gonna get the fuck out of Las Vegas. That's what we're gonna do, and that was just some weird stuff going on with that part. And look, Maloney was getting off. He was getting down early, but it was early. I feel like the fight might have ended up the same. I feel like Franco might have picked up the pace late and got the job done. I'm gonna go with Franco again, man. I just feel like he's got his number, and I feel like we like to say around here in HCP, pressure busts pipes, man. So I think he's gonna continue to put that pressure and get to Maloney, but it's gonna be a good fight.
I do feel Maloney was having a lot of success early in the fight. In the second time around, the jab was on point, but I just feel like but what people forget though is if you go back to the first fight, he was also having a lot of success early in the fight.
Yeah, he was.
And I just feel like somewhere in the middle of that fight, he's going to start feeling that pressure, right? I think Franco showed he can cut off the ring on him, get him against the ropes, and be relentless, And I don't see why he wouldn't be relentless. That is the Garcia way and the Garcia Academy. And I don't know if Maloney can go 12 rounds like that. I just don't.
Well, I was in the camp, man. He's looking great.
Oh, Maloney. Did you see how the brothers like punch each other in the stomach and shit like that?
I told him to stop doing that. I don't want any ruptured spleens. We can't pull out of the fight for ruptured spleens.
Yeah, you see what I mean? I'm just saying right now, Christina Cruz 35%, Elvis Garcia 10%, Canelo with 55%. We'll leave that on for a little bit more. Right, and it's been off for 4 minutes, 20 votes.
Bias against Garcia because he was with Joshua. That's not fair.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like Hulas, because his family was calling him Judas for training with Joshua. That's crazy.
That's classic.
Come on, man.
I had to vote for Garcia. I had to do my vote for Garcia right there. Bump it up a little bit.
Yeah, there we go. I can't vote on my own poll. This isn't fair.
I don't like that.
You know what I mean? It's my poll. I get to vote on it. You know what I mean?
Come on, guys. Let's get some votes for Garcia.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. What does Ruben think of Victor Ortiz? I have a feeling we're going to hear about that next week. I just have this feeling. He might show up. You know what I mean?
I've been very, very nervous to text him about that. But I'll definitely get to it. Don't worry about it, guys.
Does anyone know, whether in the panel or in the chat, anybody know if Robert Garcia is going to be with Franco or with Virgil? Two different cards.
He's going to be a Virgil.
Everybody knows. Is Sonteo here? Maybe he might know, but
Sonteo might know. So if anybody can look it up and let us know, I want to know.
I think he'll be with Virgil.
Dun, dun, dun. Who's gonna know? How would they know?
I think it's gonna be Virgil too.
I don't know, man. I don't know. 58% for Canelo so far. on the poll. Let's go ahead and talk about one more fight here. Guillermo Rigondeaux, El Chacal, aka the Jackal, right? Gold medalist, multi-division champion, 122 pounds anyway. You know, his lone loss was at 130 pounds against Lomachenko, but now he's moving down 118. He already had a fight at 118, so he's always said this is my real weight class. He's going to be fighting Casimero. It's for the WBO Bantamweight title. Now, before we say anything, the irony of all this is that for a while, PBC was not recognizing the WBO. I don't know if you guys remember, right?
Yeah.
They weren't recognizing WBO, but now they're recognizing the WBO all of a sudden because one of their fighters is fighting for the WBO title, right? I think they've stopped doing that, but that was stupid from the beginning. You know what I mean? If the other three sanctioning bodies recognize it, okay, I don't care if Crawford is a champion over there. You got to recognize it, okay? So, anyway, Rigondeaux Casimero, 40-year-old, allegedly, 40-year-old Rigondeaux, of course, Southpaw, fighting Casimero, who's orthodox. Beeb, who's going to win this fight?
I like Casimero in this fight. I like his volume. I like his fast pace, and I like the pressure. And he's got a mean left hook as well. So I think Guillermo Rigondeaux likes to lay back, likes to let the fight come to him. I think Casimero is gonna outwork him, and I think he could possibly stop him late. To be honest with you, I just think that he's just gonna hit him with so many shots. He's gonna break him down. I think the hook to the body, hook upstairs. I just see Guillermo Rigondeaux trying to suck Casimero into traps, but Casimero is just going to be able to, beat him to the punch. I think he's going to get in and out quick, and I just think he's going to be too much. I think he's too quick, too young, too strong, and I think the volume is going to get the best of Rigondeaux here.
Man, oh man, Chief Funky. What do you say?
That was tough to hear, man. Coming from a Rigo, I'm a Rigo fan. I've always liked Rigo, man.
It sounds like a funeral when you're after Beep did that breakdown. It's like a funeral. What's going on?
I've always liked Rigo from the first time I seen him fight. I was like, man, this guy is really something. The defense, the reflexes, the counter punching, the speed, and for being such a little guy, he packs a really good punch. He is getting up there in age, though. And like D-Style said, allegedly he's 40. I mean, maybe we might have to get Raw Boxing on the line and get his real age. I'm going to assume maybe he's like 42, really. But it's hard for me to pick against Rigo because the only guy I've ever seen beat him was Lomachenko, and that was at 130 pounds. This guy right now is going to be fighting at 118. Just think about that. He moved all the way up to 130 to fight Lomachenko, and now he's fighting at 118 pounds. Like Beep said, I agree on everything he said about Casimero. He's the volume. He's he can crack with that left hand as well. I'm just gonna flat out say it, man. I'm rooting for Rigo here. I want Rigo to win. Although I think it's gonna be a tough fight, man. But I feel like he's got enough left in the tank to pull one out here. I gotta see him take a beating like that first before I can say he's gonna take a beating like that. Did Lomachenko put a beating on him? I would say no. But he did win the fight. But I have to see him get beat up first before I could say that, So I'm going to roll Rigo, man. I think he's still quick enough and the reflexes are good enough to land some good shots and to win the fight, man. I'm rooting for him, El Chacal. Let's go, Cuba. Let's go.
I remember when Bernard Hopkins was getting hit a little more, like in his mid 40s up, or probably like early 40s up. He was getting hit a little bit more, and Bernard was out here telling people, oh, you know what? It's because I just want to give the fans a great fight, and people, I had to build my legacy first. But now that it's all said, now that I'm already a Hall of Famer, I just want to give the fans a good show. I'm here to give the fans a great fight. You know what I mean? And Jim Lamley said whatever you want to say about him, said something very accurate. It's not that, Bernard. It's that you're getting older, okay, and you're just more hittable. That's what it is. Ain't nobody believe Bernard Hopkins is out here just trying to give people a great fight. You're just getting hit more, okay. Right now, Rigondeaux, he had that. To me, it was like a fight of the year candidate against Ceja, like about 2 years ago, right? And Ceja brought it, and he beat Ceja at his own game. And I saw a lot of people say, man, Rigondeaux, he beat Ceja at his own game. Like, this is what it's all about. He got a knockout. And then Rigondeaux was talking about how, well, I just want to give the fans, I want to get back to the fans. And, bro, I don't believe this. I want to get back to the fans shit. I just don't. Your legs are gone, brother. That's what it is. Your legs are gone. That's what it is. And credit to you. You can still bend into the waist and you got to slug it out a little bit more, and you're still winning, which is, I commend you for that. You know what I mean? And Ceja, by the way, gave Brandon Figueroa a hell of a fight. We saw what Brandon did to Neri. Okay, so I'm saying that's the level of opponent that Rigondeaux knocked out, but he had to knock him out because he couldn't outbox him like that anymore. He couldn't be on the move anymore. With Casimero, he's going to have to beat him with his feet planted. And yes, he'll have to use some angles and stuff, but his feet are gone. I just think his feet are gone. We're not going to see twinkle toes in the ring, guys. I think I don't know if B and G Funky agree with me. I think his feet are gone. Has Rigondeaux been just trying to get back to the fans, B?
No.
I want to get back to the fans. That's why I was getting hit a little bit more than usual.
When you're that type of fighter that relies on reflexes and relies on your quick feet, he was never a guy that used a lot of excessive movement, but he had a lot of quick, subtle movement. He'd step around you. He can't do that anymore because it's the reflexes
Pivots aren't there.
Yeah, the reflexes have dulled. Before, if you turned on him, he would face you, and before you could finish your pivot, he would be there already. Boom, boom, boom. You try to pivot away from him, and he would stick to you. He doesn't stick to you anymore.
Yeah, it's not the same. Well, what do you think, Chief Funky? Well, what do you make of it? Is he giving back to the fans? That's why he's been in a little bit of tougher fights recently. Just giving back, bro.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a combination of both, to be honest with you. He's always had that, that narrative about him. Even, guys who are major boxing writers will say this, oh, I see this guy fight. It makes me want to vomit and stuff like that. This is when he was still in his prime, sharp, was able to make guys miss, make guys pay. I mean, it was hard to get a glove on him sometimes, and these guys didn't appreciate that. Then when he comes out and has a fight of the year candidate, and he's knocking guys out, then they're like, oh, well, now he's hittable and things like that. I mean, we all know.
It's not fair, G. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's not, man. And we all know that when you decide to open up and let your hands go, you give your opponent opportunities to land punches as well, So I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously, he's getting up there in age. So, I mean, the legs, they might not be there like they used to be. Although I don't think Rigo used his legs so much, I feel like he was still able to, to dip and move out of the way and move his upper body to get out of the way of a lot of punches. But yeah, there is obviously there's going to be some slippage as you get older in age, but I do think some of it has to do with, the fact that fans and writers would say those things about it, so maybe he might be trying to give back. That might hurt. That might cost him something here in this fight. We'll see. I don't think he's going to do that here, though. I think he's going to go back to the old Rigo, or at least try to go back to the old Rigo here for this one.
Well, look, if he wins this fight, I mean, he's in the mix. I mean, he's just look. If Rigondeaux wins this fight, I would rather him fight Monster Inoue than see a rematch with Inoue and Donaire. That's just me. If he does, in fact, beat Casimero. I
want to see Casimero fight Inoue.
No, I'm saying, but what if Rigo wins? You know what I mean? Like, let me put it this way, people. If Rigo turns back the clock and puts on a boxing lesson, right? Just outboxes Casimero, outclasses him. I mean, aren't you interested in Inoue Rigondeaux fight?
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I'm more interested in a Casimero Inoue fight. I think it'll be more entertaining.
Okay, I mean, I get it right now, right?
But
I
I
get
would
it.
rather
but-
see Rigo though. But I agree with you, Beeb. I think it would be more action packed for sure.
Yeah.
Casimero anyway.
But if Rigo wins, why would you want to see Casimero fight anyway if he loses?
No,
No,
if he loses, I don't want to see it.
I don't think he's gonna. Well, okay, I have to take it hypothetically. I would have no choice but to want that fight if he won, because he would have.
No, but even if he won, would you rather see the Rigo fight or Donaire fight for Monster Inoue?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Probably the Rigo, because it would be new. It would be fresh. I misunderstood your question. I apologize.
Now, one more question: who wins today at 118? Donaire or Rigondeaux?
Donaire.
Rigo.
Honestly, I gotta see how he looks against Casimero. I gotta see how he looks.
Just don't jinx him.
No, I'm not trying to jinx anybody. You know what I mean?
You already said his feet are slow. You're jinxing him already.
All right, guys. So look,
Watch
the
him tear-
poll is won by
tear him
Canelo. 61% of the votes go to Casimero. What? 61% of votes go to Canelo. Right? So he wins. A lot of drama, a lot of panic being caused by the cinnamon one. So
A lot of ghost accounts voting in that poll.
I don't know. Maybe shit. No, I don't think there's ghost accounts voting in the poll.
It's only 9% for Alex Garcia. Come on, that poll is fixed.
It's a fixed poll. It's a fixed
Yeah,
poll.
it's a fixed poll.
Should I scrap the poll? Should I scrap it?
No, you can't. You can't do it. You can't do
The
it.
fix is in.
The fix is in, guys, for HCP of the week vote. You know, hey, I just want to go ahead and thank everybody that tuned in. For those that came in late, go back, check out the Christy Martin interview. Great stuff. And then, of course, Elvis, to check his interview as well. Both great guests. And we touched on the other stuff, and also I want to give a shout out to Maestro and, of course, Funky for holding it down last week for that, Roberto Diaz interview. Okay, not Roberto Gomez, Roberto Diaz. Okay.
I thought his last name was Gomez.
I don't know. According to some
man.
idiot out here, that's his last name, but it's not. You know what I mean? So I just want to put that out there. You know what I mean? But with that said, Beeb, tell everybody where they can find you and all that good stuff.
You
Virgo.
can find me here on YouTube at Ringside Reporter Live. I go live every Sunday with my host and partner, Eric Lorda, 6 p.m. Eastern time, right before the Boxing Voice. So before you check out the Boxing Voice at 7 p.m. Eastern time, come by and check us out. Also, I'll be here Thursday with you on the Roundtable. Great to have the Roundtable back, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
And I'm always popping up in videos with you, G Funky Maestro, and it's always a pleasure interacting with you guys. I really enjoy it. I like chopping it up with you guys, and I love HCP, man. I'm down with HCP. So vatos locos forever.
That's
right.
You know me. You know me. You know what I mean? Chief Funky, tell everybody where they can find you. Give us, your final thoughts here.
Yeah, well, if you don't know by now, you can find me here on YouTube, G Funky Boxing. You can find me on Twitter at GFunky84. And, you can always catch me here on HCP with D-Style, Roundtable. I don't know if I'll be able to make it this Thursday. School's starting back up, so it's going to be a busy day for me that day. But I'll definitely see if I can make it. And, if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. And let's keep this thing rolling, man. I love, especially with Christy Martin and her documentary, talking about some of the things that she had to deal with in her personal life. I think that's great to bring awareness to that. In our community, in my community, there is a lot of domestic violence and stuff like that goes on, and it kind of gets swept under the rug a lot of the time. So I'm glad that she's able to speak out against it and give those women a place to go with her organization and stuff like that. So much respect to the champ and the Hall of Famer, Christy Martin.
The champ. Shout out to Mike Miklo over here. The one and only Joe Habib, you know what I mean? A-Rod 83 Boxel, you guys see the name right there. Go ahead and subscribe to his channel. And check out Chile whenever he's got that scheduled or when they go live and stuff like that. So make sure you do that. This is D-Style Boxing. I want to thank everybody once again for listening, and everybody on the podcast forum, whether it's iHeart, Stitcher, all that good stuff, Audio Boom, and we definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. This is D-Style Boxing, and I'll play this here before we go out, and have a good one, guys. Peace out.
Orale.
So.